welcome, hello and welcome, hello and welcome. Guys, if you haven't noticed, look where we are. Look where we are. We're out of the void. We're out of the void. We are out of the void. Oh, back to the lab. Here we are. Yes. Oh my gosh. I got to say hi to the people before we start this new segment. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Galloway is here. And Chang Mania coming in with the bits, and Jerry's lurking. Jerry is lurking. Also, Chang Mania, thank you for the bits. Um, Jerry Legend, I hope you get your bullshit taken care of quickly and that it is minimal amounts of bullshit. And we've got Switchblade! Switchblade, hello, hello, hello. And of course, the man of the hour or two, White, Gray, Black, YYC. So, guys, this is a brand new segment that I'm airing. Normally, I wouldn't air it during art time, but I was feeling really, really lazy and thought, I don't want to air this Wednesday night because that's 2 stream nights in a row, and I need to set up stream for art stream and then set up stream for this stream, and that's too much setting up things, especially when I'm doing something new. So tonight we're doing a pilot airing. We're airing the pilot of the new stream, the new segment here on Making Art instead. Switchblade JY, leader of Bullet Gold. What? It's going to be in the 50s tomorrow. Oh, wait, wait. Jerry, if I am not mistaken, you know what cold weather is like, huh? Hi, Celador! And you're correct. You're no longer in the bedroom. We're out of the void. We're out of the void and back in the lab. I have missed you, lab. I have missed you, lab. I have missed lab. Oh, lab is good. So let's talk about this new segment. This is called Art Has Peaked. This is a stream where I interview people about arts, all arts. Arts you may have never considered to be an art, maybe things that you have considered to be an art. All kinds of artists. Maybe they're even streamers and maybe they're not. Who fucking knows? And I am very excited to start this segment. And every interview is going to be something different and special, and it's an art project for me. So here's what I do. I pre-record the interview, and then I chop it up, and I do some video editing. I have some fun with it, and then I air the segment live on Twitch while I'm hanging out in the chat fielding questions. Maybe the interviewee is here, and maybe they're not. And as you can see, White Gray Black, the interviewee is here in the chat tonight. Yeah. And why am I doing this? Because every time I see interview segments on Twitch, it always gets derailed by raids and bits and donations and subs. And we have things to talk about, people. We have questions and comments and concerns, and we will address them all. Everything will be addressed. Hi, Cherish. Also, hi, Viara. But hi, Cherish. Welcome in. What a great time for you to pop in for the first time. This is a brand new segment. I've never done this before. Normally we're doing art, and sometimes I'm Satan, and sometimes I'm playing games, but today we're interviewing people about art. And I hope y'all learn a few things from White Gray Black, who has a wealth of fucking knowledge, and it was such a fucking joy to talk about art, talk shop, talk theory with White Gray Black. Holy cow, I had such a good time. So, let's roll on into the interview. Let's go! Oh, I need to mute my mic, don't I? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. I can do things and stuff and things and set the source and there we go. Oh, hey. You know what would help? If I muted the audio. There we go. Now let's roll into the interview! Hi! Oh my goodness, it is very good to see you. How are you doing? Oh my goodness, White Gray Black. Is that
Nice to see you.
Is that all right if we call you White
Yeah.
Gray Black? Oh.
You can call me White Gray Black. You can call me Charles. I made this joke on Racket's Discord already, but all I said, you can call me Charles, call me White Gray Black. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Ah, the jokester. I love it. Are there any other usernames or any other names that you would like us to know about?
actually go as with these two hands for a lot of my art and music stuff.
Excellent.
And my Instagram is with these two hands, YYC. So yeah, it's a whole thing. I should have gotten. I've been white gray black on everything for since my college days, which is years ago. But then I was resistant to social media, so I missed out on a lot of usernames that way.
That's completely fair. But
Yeah.
hey, White Gray Black, I think that that's a really unique name. How did you come up with it in the first place?
It was kind of just a weird thing that came to my mind during my college days. So this is, I will date myself now. This is back in like 1998, 1999, around that era. And I don't know. I think when you go to college, you're just exposed to more people and more thoughts and more things. So I was thinking about the world a lot, like you do when you're 19 and you're doing a lot of drugs and talking to cool people. And then I was like, everybody looks at things white and black, but so I was thinking about this, the whole cosmic gumbo that we live in. And I was thinking about, white, gray, and black and everything in between, and how everything is connected, even if, even white and black are connected in those ways. So I think that's kind of how I came across it. And so it sounded cool. I was an art student, taking an art and design program. So I was always playing with like concepts and visuals and making visuals to match these ideas I had. So I was working with that, and then it just kind of stuck, and online gaming became a thing in that era, in that early 2000s. And so it was just a thing I stuck with. Coming up with a username was just an easy one to run with, and I ran with it on everything.
See, I don't think a lot of people keep their usernames from the early 2000s. It's awesome that that stuck with you for so long.
Yeah, because I didn't go with like Third Eye Blind Fan 69.
XXXO.
Yeah. I luckily was clever enough at that point, or at least thought I was clever enough to get something that wasn't just like a weed reference, or like my pet's nickname or something.
There's still time. You could still be White Gray Black 420.
Yeah, I guess so. Those days are long, long, long behind me.
That's fair. Oh yeah, college. So you did some official arts training in college. Can I ask what your level of education is?
So the college diploma is the last thing I have. So after I finished my college, it was what was it, 3 years, 2 years, 3 years? I don't know, something. I went there in '98. I came here in 2001, and then they turned it into a 4-year applied degree after that. But that's neither here nor there for me. So yeah, college diploma for that is one of those programs where you go in and you do sort of like the basis. You take sort of the basis foundational programs of everything, like printmaking, sculpture, painting, drawing, everything, photography, and then it morphs into a more graphic design based education after that. And I always said, I'm not gonna do that graphic design stuff. Those corporate whores. I ain't gonna be one of those. I'm gonna be a photographer is what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be a painter. I'm gonna be a painter and a drawer and a photographer. And then took photography for two terms and went, I'm never doing this again in my life, because that was back when you were taking it on film, processing it yourself, processing the film, doing everything, and the chemicals were too much, and the everything was too much.
Right.
So so yeah, I kind of went into the design thing going like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do stuff with computers. No computers. And now everything I do is with computers.
I mean, you've done some really awesome graphic designs, and the stuff for your stream is pretty cool too. I almost always see you just doing strictly digital arts.
Yeah, I've been doing a fair amount of that. When I thought I'd start actually streaming more, I was kind of like, oh, this will give me an excuse to play more video games. I want to play more games. And then, of course, I just went ahead and did most, like, a bunch of art stuff. I still play games here and there, but I find it's not as purely focused on games as I thought it would be, which is fine because I'm having a great time doing art while I talk to people, and I've been branching out and doing more of my own projects and stuff as well. So it's been really great.
That has
It's
been
been fun.
that's the most successful thing that you possibly can do. Is having a reason to enjoy doing art and keeping yourself busy. So let's go back to the college stuff. So what inspired you to go to art school in the first place?
Coming up, I as a kid, whenever you did those like aptitude tests and like in Canada here, it's called the CTBS test. You do those a few times as you're coming up through middle school, sort of thing, and it would kind of say like you're probably geared towards doing this sort of thing. And for me, it was always like you should be doing sales, you should be doing business. Although I look now and lots of stuff I do, it's like that. But I was like, yeah, but I don't know. I always liked art growing up, and then my sister went into art school, and she was 3 years older than me. We're very close. And as soon as I went and visited her at her college when I was sort of in like junior high, kind of like the 3 years thing. So she was like in her first year, and I was in probably like grade 9 or 10, and went and visited the college and just saw the people and saw what they were doing. And I was like, that, that, do the art thing. These people are interesting, and they are so different than the people in my small farming community. So I was like, yes, I want to get out of this town. I want to see more people, see more things, and art is a thing I want to do. So yeah, and then when it came time for college, I kind of was going like, okay, what the hell do I do? Because I kind of had that thought and then kind of put it away, right? And then was like, well, now what the hell do I actually do? And so I didn't even know where to apply for colleges and what I wanted to do. So I kind of my friend who's another comic artist and graphic designer that I've grown up with my whole life. He was like, hey, I'm applying to this college, to this program. I think it's probably a good one in our region. Like it was not that far from where we lived. It's only about 4 or 5 hours from where we originally grew up. And he said, I'm trying out for this one. I was like, okay, this is like my only thing I can think of. And I put together a portfolio and applied, and we both got in. And I was sweating hard because I was like, I don't have a fallback. If I don't get into this thing, I guess I'm trying to find a job in some small town Saskatchewan thing. So yeah, it could have. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't get in. I'm not sure what I would have done.
So how was it like what you expected, and how is it not like you expected?
Sort of in terms of all the art thing or the college side
The
of
college
it.
side specifically, but sure, the
Yeah.
art thing as well.
Um, I had a great college experience. I'll say that right up front. And I think it was weird. It was sort of my circumstances as a small town farm kid meant that I had no money. I put together a portfolio and it was like, oh my God, I have to, now I got to pay for college and go to college. So I went into student residence, and the college I went to had this really great, their student residences were these townhouses that were across the main road from the college. So I was within a 5 to 10 minute walk from anywhere in the college at any given point, anytime I wanted to go do something. And I also had a built-in community of crazy college kids who just wanted to party and get to know each other. And my first weekend there, we were playing hacky sack under a street lamp until 3 a.m. Like it was like everything that you want, right? It was great. And so my friend who I grew up with, we were roommates that first year in the student residence. So that was great because then I automatically knew somebody that was in my program living with me. we drove each other crazy, but we're actually better friends now because of that. I think we're closer now than we ever have been in our lives. Now in our older years, as we look back on our whole lives, and are like, yeah, we did some fun stuff, and we drove each other nuts, and now we're just like really solid friends. And he's been a huge inspiration. Like for me, even getting into comic stuff, like my friend Ryan is like one of the biggest inspirations for me.
That's fantastic.
So it was different in that, like I said, everything I expected going in was like, I'm going to be an artist. And then you go, how am I going to make a living? And luckily for me, I quickly kind of said like, okay, maybe these computers, I think maybe they're going to take off. Maybe they're going to be pretty popular. I was lucky that I was kind of there when the internet was getting going in the mainstream. Like, of course, the internet's been in like, since I think it was even like late 70s and earlier. It was like sort of little kernels of it, but it was getting big in the like mid 90s is when like people were adopting it.
That's when chat rooms were happening.
Yeah, so seeing it, yeah, like I had my cousins were telling me about being on these BBS forums, and that was even before I was getting stuff. And there was like IRC chat and early like what was that, comic chat? Did you ever use comic chat?
I never used comic chat. No.
It was amazing. It was purely visual. So you were all comic characters, and when you type something, it went into a speech bubble above you. So when you told somebody to like said some really stupid, rude stuff, it was very funny.
Why is that not a thing nowadays? That's incredible.
I know. Well, you look at stuff like VR chat. To me, that's the same thing. Exactly the same thing. VR chat is just people in a totally visual, like I'm there, I'm doing something, I'm interacting in a physical way, in as well as in this chat space. So I think there's something similar now, even like a PlayStation Home with something like that.
I could see that, but I would love to sit around with my friends and do a comics chat and then just screen caps everything and just post that online and be like, "Oh yeah, that's easy comics. Look how funny we are."
Yeah.
Just easy.
Yeah, you can make a four panel comic out of like just about any funny interaction you have on that.
I love it.
It's awesome.
It's also lucky that you had some business skills as well, right? So you were told that you should get into business. Did you ever like follow that at all, and did it help with, marketing your art?
In turn, yeah, my partner always tells me, and my comic collaborator always tell me like, oh, you've got the gift, for this. Like when we do events, like when we do markets and comic expos and stuff, I'm standing up and I'm talking to everybody and doing the thing. And I think that's probably the thing that was giving me that feedback earlier in life of like, hey, you should be in sales or business. It's just that I'm fairly introverted and pretty like self-conscious, but I want to be social. I want to be, and in those sorts of situations, I feed off of doing that. And then I have to go crash for 2 days and like cuddle with the cats for 2 days to kind of recharge. But I like talking with people, and I guess I kind of have that gift of gab, as they say, in some situations, not always. I'm not I'm not always great, but yeah, it's worked out okay. And my parents, they were small farmers, so my dad was basically a small business. The whole time I was growing up, I was in the middle of a small family business. So, and then after the farming went away, my father was also ran like a computer sales and support business. So small business stuff has always been, yeah. So that's always been in my DNA, I guess, a little bit of just that idea of small business and interaction in that way. So, and again, where things went in a way that I didn't expect, I also came out of college saying, I'm never going to start my own business, ever. The hell with that. I want to work somewhere, and I want to come home, and I never think about that work. And then I started a small business in 2003, I think it was. So here we are 21 years later, and I've been a small business owner for 20 plus years.
Would you
So
like to share the name of your business?
yeah, it's on all my stuff. So it's called Electris Design. So it's my graphic design freelancing business. So I mainly work with small businesses. I I really like small business. It turns out is where everything has gone in my life is like small business, not deal. After saying like, oh, I'm just gonna work for a big advertising agency and just do the work and go home. I never ended up working for a large agency. I started working for a small print shop, and then an opportunity fell on my lap that I had enough work from freelance stuff to just start my own business, and I just did that.
Badass.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
badass. All right, let's see what
I think
other.
it's the Prairie kid in me. Like I want to talk face to face with the person I'm dealing with, and like back in the before times, you shake their hand, and that's is almost like old west. Like I talk with the person, we say this is great, I like you like me, we're gonna do great things. Shake their hand, and then you just go and you create.
Yeah, and then it's just business. When business could be done with a simple handshake. Let's see. How has your art evolved? Let's start with the history of your art and the mediums that you've chosen. And you've gone
Oh
over this a little bit, but
yeah, I used to just be one of those kids who just would just draw on whatever piece of paper you'd have. The earliest drawings are just on like lined paper, lined foolscap paper.
mhm.
When I was a kid, my friends and I getting those like how to draw spaceships books and how to draw dinosaurs. Those old Scholastic books. That I don't know. Scholastic is a thing in the United States, but
Oh, it is.
here in Canada, it's okay.
Yeah,
Where
I
you
had
get your
Scholastic
Scholastic
books
thing.
too.
Yeah, yeah, and you'd order those books, every month or whatever. You get your thing, and you excitedly, get a couple of books. So we would. That's what we were doing when I was a kid. Is we were kind of looking at that, and then looking at comic books. Like Spider-Man was big in my friend group, and we were always amazed that there were Canadian artists doing it. Like I think. Is it Mark Bagley is a Canadian guy? I think he's from Saskatoon, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not great with this.
I'm also
My
horrible.
comic collaborator, my comic collaborator Gord is the guy who knows comics, and my friend Ryan is the people. They're the people who know comics. I just kind of I latch on, so I don't know this stuff for. But we were amazed, like, and I think we're just amazed, like with comics back when we were like in say like 91. I think is when I was big into comics when I was 11 years old,
hmm
and it was like Spider-Man and Silver Surfer and stuff like that. And just seeing like once in a while you'd see like a Canadian artist like on Spider-Man and just being like a kid from up here could do it. A kid from up here could make it. So that's what we should do. We should try and do that. And then like I said, my friend Ryan has been doing comics forever and is doing it as like a working comic artist. Is also a graphic designer like myself. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. Did I forget the question and ramble? I don't know.
No, but you led me into the next question here, which is tell me about some of your artistic influences.
Oh, okay. I'd say my biggest influences don't probably come out in my art. The stuff that I love seeing most of all is like I like dirt and grit, like your Giger, your biomechanical horrors, your like Brzezinski. I'm saying that wrong, but like you're really your Sir Francis Bacon. Like he did these. His paintings are like these horrifying. Lots of these like self portraits where he's like a screaming face in a void, stuff like these kind of like almost maniacal things. That's the stuff nothing I make looks anything like that. But that's the stuff that makes me feel super inspired.
Love it.
Sometimes I just see great art and it makes me want to create something. Even if it's not anything like that, I just want to make something and make something that someone else might see and be like, oh, that's cool.
How has that changed over time for you? And how have your mediums changed over time?
Okay. Now, as in terms of like hands-on art, I had a big lull, right? Because I came out of college and then said, "Oh my God, I'm in a larger city now. I have a rent to pay. My student loans exist and must be paid, and I better start working." So then I was just like head down graphic designer for most of these 20 years, right? So it wasn't I wasn't creating art for fun anymore. I was doing stuff I was proud of and I found exciting and was challenging me, but I wasn't really doing like a hands-on art that's like for me. So it was only about a year and a half ago that my friend Gord came to me and said, "Dude, I'm doing comics again." He's been doing comics for 20 plus years, and he took a break for a few years and said, "Hey, dude, I'm getting back into it. You're a designer. Can you take the art that I do that I scan and can you make it ready for print? Can you do your designer thing?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do the designer thing. I do the designer thing every day. No problem. I'll clean that up and we'll do it." And then he said, "Oh, yeah, cool. And hey, I need a cover for this thing. You want to draw the cover?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't really like I sketch all the time for my business, but I haven't drawn in 15 years. But yes, sure, I'll draw the cover." And so I just sat down. I got a little pen display tablet, a little Huion, like 16-inch tablet, and drew a cover. And then he was like, "Great. Now, what's the next project we're working on? We want to collaborate on this. We're going to do this thing." And yeah, so we've been doing Genki comics for the last like 18 months or so. No, wait. When did we start doing it? Not long ago. Yeah, like July 2022, I think is when we first started. So yeah, like basically 18 months
Yeah.
we've been doing this thing. And now I'm doing my own zines and we're talking about our next projects. And yeah, so the weird thing about that is I kind of like my mediums, my mediums didn't really evolve through all that. I just after college, I was barely doing art anymore. I still have a lot of my like old acrylic paints from college sitting in a, so and now I do mostly pen work and digital work because it's just I like to still put pen to paper once in a while, but I'm not super skilled at that. So sometimes I find the digital stuff works as well. But I use the same techniques that I'm doing with pens. I just like doing nice. I like black and white work, so I do a lot of that. And yeah, like it's almost like pen work even when I'm doing the digital stuff, and I've been dabbling more with coloring and different techniques there. But yeah, my evolution was like, okay, if I want to be faster, digital is the way to go because I'm good at finding efficiencies that way because that's the designer in me.
Absolutely. I want to know more about your creative process, though. Tell me more about your creative process and how you actually get
Uh,
to making a piece.
I mostly fly by the seat of my pants. Um,
Yeah.
so I've always, and whether it's art, whether it's design, or whether it's music, even I'm I get this like I get the kernel of the idea in my head, in my brain of how I expect it to look or how I expect it to sound or how I expect it to come together, and then I need to like okay, I know the end point that I would like, and I know that in 99% of the cases that endpoint isn't quite achievable, but how do I get from where I am now and bridge those two and at least get even if the bridge goes and then it circles this thing and then ends up over here, but how do I get from there to there? And I mostly wing it. To be honest, I do sketching. I do sketching, and I do, but a lot of my creative process happens in my head. um, a lot of the plans I have to make happens when I'm doing other, like if I have a challenge to meet, I'll often walk away from the actual work and I'll go do something else. And then the next day, as I'm waking up, I go, while I was waking up and my brain was activating, I thought of the way I thought of the technique I need to use to make that thing in that cover look the way I want it to, or I figured out the bass part for that song, or I figured out something, and it's always been that way. It, it's like when you watch that show Mad Men,
Yeah.
the advertising show, where he just
Hmm.
sits and he stares out a window.
Hmm. And it
A
just
lot of
happens.
a lot of my life is that it's like step away from the thing, occupy your mind elsewhere, and then let it gestate, let it sit in the soup of your brain for a while, and then things come out of that. And then and then it's just so often I'll sit down and I might have a hand drawn sketch. Sometimes I don't even have. Sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna work it out as I do it, because as I'm building it, I'm gonna see that doesn't work. Cut that out. That looks cool. That's something I didn't even expect. So pull that in and meld those things, cut that stuff out, and then all of a sudden a thing emerges.
So,
Um,
do you have a place
yeah.
where you get your best ideas from, or best ratio of success?
Laying in bed,
Very
laying on the
comfortable.
couch, yeah, like in the shower is not a bad one. Sometimes that happens, but usually it's like, I don't know. A lot of stuff comes to me. This is gonna sound weird. A lot of stuff comes to me in dreams, like while I'm
Ah.
sleeping.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot. There'll be times when I wake up and I'm like, while I was dreaming, this I saw. I was thinking. In my dream. I was going through the process of this thing, and then said to myself, "I know what I should do. I should use watercolors to color that, because I'll have better time blending." Or, "Oh, I know what I should do. I should play the bass line like boop 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 boop." And that's how it comes. And so you wake up. So there are lots of times where I wake up and I go, "Oh shit, that dream, that wasn't real. I didn't come up with that yesterday. I came up with it while I was sleeping. I need to run and write this down right now before it leaves my brain." Um, I lose as many things as I come up with. I lose 90% of them. They disappear before you can act on them. That's frustrating, but you just have to be like, that's okay. That's okay. Good ideas, they come and they go, and you scoop up the ones you can.
Absolutely. And it's a shame when you can't get them all, but what you do get, it works for you, and it's amazing that you can get your best ideas from your dreams. That is the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it too much until I know that I often will wake up and be like, "Oh, that's the what I was talking about to myself in my dream. That's the thing I need to now do." But yeah, it's just weird when you actually think about it that way, and like, yeah, how much do I get? Because you have to remember that so much of your dreams and like the stuff you're doing while you're sleeping is processing your day from before, or experiences from before. So I process a lot of my challenges while I'm sleeping. Yeah, weird.
So, to get a little
The
bit more
brain.
literal, what's a dream project of yours? It something that came from a dream or something that you would love to do someday? A dream
Oh,
project.
well, I'm this since starting the comic collaboration with Gord, this Genki Comics, that was a dream of mine for years and years. And I decided when I started doing that, like 2022, I was looking at things and being like, I'm pretty miserable. Things aren't going my way. Like business is tough. Business, like small business, is really hard right now. And I went, I should start doing all the things I've always wanted to do. And then all of a sudden, the comic thing landed on me, and I started doing zines, and that's been going well. And then I was like, hey, you know what? I've wanted to record like some sort of album for years. I've been playing music since I was 18 years old or so, and but have never really recorded much because it's so frustrating. So I something that did happen, that's sort of a dream thing that's happening right now, is working on it this week, is the next project that Gord and I are doing for our comics. We have a provincial art grant for our next graphic novel. So we got a provincial art grant for the research side of it. So we were off in Vancouver, Canada, and we were driving into Vancouver every day to do research, go to archives and such. And we were listening to nothing but industrial music, nothing but industrial music. Like,
Nice.
for us, the big one that I was hitting on was like, and which is such an odd coincidence with you, was the Paul Barker years. The Paul Barker years of Ministry. We were listening
Yeah.
to so much of, and I was thinking a lot about Ministry in particular. We were listening to all sorts of stuff, and I was thinking about the graphic novel I have up on the shelf there, The Crow, from James O'Barr. He went and commissioned an album to coincide with his graphic novel, The Crow. And it just so happened his friend, I think his name is John Bergen, was from a band called Trust Obey, which is another industrial album, industrial artist. So he commissioned this thing. So I was thinking about this thing. And we were talking, I was listening to like Chris Christopherson one day with Gord, and going like, here's like your protest songs of some of the ones from those days. And we started talking about how I was positing like, hey, industrial music is like the protest songs of our generation. When we were coming up in the 90s and we were like, grunge was kind of that, but like for me, industrial was the protest song. And punk as well. Like I think about Crass, like those are protest songs. But then I was like, hey, would it be kind of neat if I wrote an industrial album to go with our next graphic novel? And the thing about Gord, I love him to death, but I always have to remember that if I suggest something, I have to be ready to follow through. Because if he likes the idea, he goes, yes, let's do it. When can it be done? And that's what he said. He said, yes, you could do that. And I was like, well, I said it because I had a couple kernels of some thoughts in my brain. He was like, yes. How many songs will it be? When will you have it done? What do you need? He's like, I can't play any instruments, but what do you want? And I was like, I guess I'll just do it. So I've been recording. So this is the dream thing, is like finally trying to cut just an EP that's industrial music, that's really inspired by like Trust Obey companion album for The Crow, and those Paul Barker years of Ministry, because that's my favorite style. It's my bread and butter there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't say for a moment that I'm nearly as talented as any of them, and my recording skills. Recording is, oh my god, recording is the most frustrating thing in the world. But
that's why you need a professional studio. It's maddening how much goes into it.
I know, and that's the thing where I've always done, like I kind of always do stuff on my own. I'm like, I'll figure it out, and even if it's like 7/10 as good as the good stuff, I'm proud of it. So that's where I go with things. I say like, hey, it's okay if it's not as good. People will understand that you handcrafted this thing. That's the small business owner in me. That's the farm kid in me. It's like, I'm going to whittle this thing out of a piece of wood, and it's not going to look like Michelangelo's David or Rodin or something like that. But people are going to see that and say, this guy, that's his sweat and blood on that thing. Literally sometimes.
I want to know more about the music that you've been working on, though. Like, the studio aspect it's mind-boggling, but like, okay, what tools are you using? What instruments are you playing? What effects are you using?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a basic bitch when it comes to effects. So it's like I'm a boss guy. I got a lot of boss pedals. I've been delving into their Waza pedals, which are their sort of more bespoke, more boutique-y versions of some of the pedals that people have been using for 60 years. So I've been having some fun with that. Yeah, I don't have a lot of non-boss stuff. I have on this song that I just completed last night. I'm probably going to rewrite part of it, but the one that I kind of like exported as an MP3 last night, I was like, this could be the song. I was using. I have a lot of guitars. Let me start there before I talk about the other stuff.
Okay.
I've got 42 guitars and basses.
Holy shit!
So between my guitars, my basses, and acoustics, I have 42 of them, much to the chagrin of my partner, but she's very patient with me. So yeah, I've got like there's an acoustic back there. That's just like the one I can pick up and write stuff on in the office. I've got a bass over there, a guitar up there, and then downstairs are all the rest of them, all living in the music room. So when we got this house, there was a big sort of not used portion of the basement that was semi-finished, so I knocked it out, and built a bespoke music room there, and insulated it nicely, and got it all set up the way that I would want it. So my electronic, I have a Roland V drum set up for my drums,
Yeah.
and I've had that for, I bought that in probably 2007, 2008, somewhere in there, I think, is probably when I got that. So it's great. It's still, it's excellent.
Oh, they're still good little
So
machines. Absolutely.
yeah, so I've got the really nice ones with the mesh heads. Like I bought the flagship thing at the time, the TD25 or TD20. I don't know what it is, but it's great. So it means that I can play silently if I want, or I can crank it up. And that's big for me because I'm doing this stuff all myself. And then I've got all of my basses and guitars are all one single brand. It's this defunct brand from the between the late 1960s, perhaps, or early 70s, up to around the 90s. It's called Eldegas. That's the make of everything.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, and chances are, if you've heard of them on the internet, it's probably me who wrote about it. I run eldegas.com as a user forum for people who have these instruments and to talk to them about it, because so little information exists. So I've gone through, I've gone through all these instruments over time, and now I've whittled it down to what are my favorites, and of course that ends up being over 40 of them. And so so the thing about that is I've got like all sorts of different ones. There, a Flying V, I've got an Explorer, I've got a bunch of Les Pauls, like SGs. I've got I got a bunch of Telecasters, but they're all this one brand. So I play that stuff, and I've got a bunch of synthesizers that don't get as much play as they should, because I'm not great with the keyboards, but I love synthesizers. And again, I'm a bit of a Roland fan. Roland and Boss are the same company. I'm kind of a fan of their stuff. So I've got a lot of these little Roland boutique synths that take like, a Juno or a Jupiter and makes it this little thing that I can then have one master keyboard. I've got this nice Novation keyboard with a nice key bed, and then I can just hook those up to it through MIDI and have like a bunch of different synthesizers that all fit into a shelf. And then, my Boss effects, and then I record into a nice Mac Mini with GarageBand. I'm just on GarageBand. I'm not even using Logic. That's how basic I am. How basic I am on that.
GarageBand does an amazing job. I know a lot of musicians that get a Mac just so they can use GarageBand and not have to pay for extra software. I get it. It's fine.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah, GarageBand is great. I wanted something super simple. I've messed around with like Cubase. Back in the day, it was like Cubase and stuff like that, and I got overwhelmed. Even though I'm like kind of tech on some things, that kind of stuff I get, things like tuning my car or playing with really tough recording software. I don't mess with that. I can't do it. I want to plug and just go. So GarageBand is as close as I can get with that, I find. I think my mixing needs a lot of work, as the track I just exported last night maybe says to me, but it works for me.
Excellent.
And I think that's all that matters.
Exactly.
That's what I tell a lot of people. Yeah, people ask me about design programs. They ask me about music stuff, and I'm always like, just whatever works. If it makes sense to your brain, like this stuff makes sense to my brain. And if you can go into Pro Tools and make it happen, then go in peace and do it.
Exactly. I think that goes for just about any medium at all, though. Like, you can buy the cheapest tools, but if you know how to use them, that's what really matters. Crayolas, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I know great artists who work purely in like pencil crayon and are renowned for this wonder because they're able to just what they bring out of that medium
Mhm.
is insane.
Yeah, and there's no shame in using boss pedals at all. I mean, who cares if they're cheap? If they are doing what you need and you're able to get really good sound out of them, then that is awesome. That's the whole goal. You don't need
Yeah,
some
yeah.
$300 pedal to achieve that if you're doing great.
Exactly. Yeah. Whatever happens to work for you. And I mean, when I look at boss pedals, I'm like, they sell millions of them for a reason because
Mhm.
they're easy to use and they're indestructible. And that's both things that mean something to me.
Absolutely. I think that's totally valid. So what is let's talk about your strongest forms of art and your weakest forms of art. Let's start with your strongest forms. What is your strongest form?
Tracing.
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 Really?
When I talk, well, a lot of the work that I do is light box work. So I'll say, for example, when I did that cover for that first comic that I kind of like, okay, I'm going to draw something. I built a composite in Photoshop and then put that and then light boxed it and worked over top of it. And then it took the like, rather than, for me, it's the same as if somebody have a photograph here and they're like, okay, I'm going to draw this photograph. Okay, well, I'm going to figure out how to, it's basically the same, but I throw it down. And then instead of going like, well, did I put the nose in the right place? I say, how am I going to reinterpret this now to do what I needed to do and to be the way I want it to? So I do light boxing quite a bit in both my digital and my manual art. I have a nice little light tablet light box here for me, the designer part of me I always want to build a composite to work from. So I guess, I say I wing it a lot, but I do like to build a nice composite and to work from that. So I have a game plan, especially when it comes to drawing and art, because then I can better control where things go and where they're going to be. And then I can put something on that composite that I know I'm going to work over top, that I know that I'm not going to do what it says there, what it looks like. I'm not going to simply trace it. I'm going to look at that and say, okay, here's how I was going to reinterpret that and make it work for the composition I want to do.
That's fascinating. I never would have considered that an art form. I would have thought it more of a skill, but the way you describe it, yeah, it is absolutely an art.
Yeah, for me, the process is kind of part and parcel with what I do, because past past my process, it's just me pushing ink onto the paper or doing my digital thing. For me, the process is so wrapped up in the art itself. Um, and like I said, I don't discriminate in terms of like mediums and that, like especially with digital stuff. Depending on the programs you use, like I use a program called Clip Studio that was um, um, uh, recommended to me by my friend Ryan, the comic artist, and it gives me at my fingertips, spray paint and watercolors and gouache paint and pen and ink and India ink and washes and everything else. So for me, those are all they're less like individual mediums to me. They're all just a toolkit. They're all just arrows in the quiver that I can pull out at any time and say, yes, I'm going to put an oil paint right next to watercolor going on top of it because it's going to make it look the way I want it to.
I love that. So, like that's very, very strong art skill. What is your weakest form of art?
Actually doing it.
I love that
actually,
answer. I love it.
actually executing and actually, it's two things. Number one, actually executing the thing you want to do is always kind of tough because the idea I always have always ends up being almost unobtainable. And then the second thing is your own like mental hurdles. A big thing is me going past the point of saying, oh no, I couldn't do that, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do that, I don't have time. Oh, I can't do that, I feel sheepish. That's for me, it's like when people talk about writer's block or anything else. I think artists have a lot of, every artist I've ever met has an inferiority complex and anxiety. And I've always considered myself to be very confident, but I find as I'm doing more and more art, I'm coming up to those blocks more often where I go like, even with streaming, there are so many times I hover my mouse over the start streaming button and then I say, not today, I can't do it. So it's about, yeah, mastering technique will only get you so far. You have to master yourself as well. And that's a sliding scale and always a work in progress for anybody.
This is a perfect transition. What is art to you?
Oh.
How do you define art?
To me, it's almost indefinable. It's almost intangible, because if you open your eyes to it, it's everywhere. Art surrounds us all the time, whether you recognize it or not, whether you see it or not. I think, boy, I'm getting like crazy deja vu. I think I've had this conversation with my comic collaborator Gord, where I basically say, yeah, whether you see it or not, whether you recognize it or not, or whether you at any given point are open to it or not, like opening your eyes to see it, art is around us everywhere all the time. That is, for me, that's the thing that surrounds us all the time, is art. And sometimes it's just a trick of the light. Sometimes it's just, the leaves in the breeze, to start getting waxing poetic. It could be all those things or none of those things.
I love it. No, I think that we're on a really similar page with our definitions of art, because it is what you never expect it to be, because that's where your inspiration comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. Tell me about a piece that you are most proud of.
Because I'm kind of like, even though I've been doing, artistic stuff for a couple plus decades, I really feel like the work I've been doing in the last 18 months is the stuff where I finally feel like, okay, I kind of was able to just do some things I've always wanted to do. And the zines I've been doing, these ghost town zines for these little historical gems in Alberta, has been some of my favorite stuff, because it also gets me out traveling to see these places and meeting people. And the stuff I'm doing with those, I'm just really happy with it. And it's been very fulfilling, and I want to do tons and tons more of them.
I love the art that you've been doing on stream for your Ghost Town zines. It's very, very, like, it's detailed, but it's not overbearing, and it really gets to the point, and it really does sometimes feel like I'm looking at a postcard, like, or a cartoonist postcard.
And that's where building a composite and then lightboxing it is how I get there. So I come up with a plan of where things are going to be and how, and then I look at that picture and I say, how am I going to reinterpret this and add texture and feeling and heaviness and lightness without going crazy. And it's, yeah, and sometimes I try different techniques even within the same zine, depending on the picture. And some are more successful and some are less successful. But the final finished product, I'm always pretty happy with.
Excellent. And that reminds me, you are up for an award, aren't you? You're nominated for an award for your zines.
Yeah. So the first Ghost Town zine I did, which is about the Red Coat Trail, which is a region in South Alberta here. That's nominated, shortlisted for one of the best info zines in the 2023 Broken Pencil Magazine Zine Awards, which will be streamed. They'll be streamed live on Twitch, January 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Broken Pencil Magazine Twitch channel.
That is right around the corner, and I'm dropping the link right now in the future video right now. Oh my god.
Yeah, so luckily for me, if I wanted to go to the award ceremony, it's in Toronto, and I just didn't have the means to do that. But luckily, they have they stream on Twitch, and we're like, yeah, we'll just stream it live on Twitch. So I get to sit in the audience and watch it from there, and yeah, so that's gonna be pretty exciting. The comp, boy, the rest of the nominees in every category, there's some amazing stuff. I am super honored just to be included with those people. Like out of 200 plus zines to be shortlisted in a category is insane, and a huge honor. But I looked at the other stuff and I was like, okay, I can see which ones deserve to win for sure. There's some boy, there's some great creators.
Can you tell me about some of the tough competition?
Oh, like,
and what you admire about them also.
There, for example, one of the ones in the category that I'm in, the info zine, which is any sort of informational based zine. One guy, he did a very frank discussion about the opioid pandemic, the opioid epidemic in his small town. And that's just so raw and so of the moment right now, of like this collective like slowly unfolding tragedy that we've been in for several years now. That I look at stuff like that and I'm like, oh my God, like that's important work that's being done. It's not some joker going to these ghost towns and looking at old buildings. It's somebody, looking at like, where are we going as a people if this is happening, and what do we even do? So, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. I plan to kind of re-explore some of those on an upcoming stream, I think, and look at them further, because the stuff that's in there is amazing. There's like just good stuff.
This is a good transition into talking about criticisms of our own artworks, and I would love to hear some of your favorite critiques of your arts, and I would love to hear both good and bad critiques of your arts. Your favorite ones, most memorable ones.
People tend to be more kind than they should be. Does that sound insane?
No.
I find now, okay, when I look at the comic community that I've been dealing with here in Alberta, everyone is so supportive, almost to a fault. Everyone is too nice. We're these nice Calgarians and nice Edmontonians and nice Albertans. We're very nice people. No one wants to say anything. And I'm like, no, I come from art school. Tear me. If you see something that should be improved, I want it. I need critique. My entire career is based on getting critique on your work, and then going, okay, now what do I do in response to that? So I find that people are almost too nice now. Everybody says, it's all so good, it's all great, and I'm like, every once in a while I'd like somebody to just say, hey, that's good stuff, but boy, that didn't do it for me. And in the design business, trust me, I've gotten like, there's good critique and there's bad critique. I once had a guy tell me about the logo I built for him. My 4-year-old could do that.
Really? Fucking
and
really?
So that like trope, this was back in 2002, I think, 2001. Like, this is way back in the past, but I feel like that trope of somebody saying like, oh, my kid could do that does happen once in a while. So all I did is I went back and I came to him with new concepts where he said, holy shit, how'd you do that? And sometimes that's what it takes, is you go like, oh, okay, like that's too simple for you. Okay, then let me show you. Let me show you what we can do. Sometimes people don't know what they want either. Like, a logo's meant to be simple.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I won't delve into that too much.
Absolutely can.
That one sticks in my craw a little bit. The one fellow who said that, I was like, come on, dude, you watch too many movies if you think that that's a thing you can say to somebody. Anyways,
I mean, a 4-year-old could make a better insult. Just saying.
Yeah. But nowadays I find I wish people would get more into the realm of critique now. I feel like people try to be too kind.
Mhm.
And I think maybe it's because they're afraid that conflict, because sometimes people, if they're not used to getting critique on their work, any critique sounds like the worst thing ever, right? For me, I came up in art school where you learn very quickly in that first year, like your teachers tell you, like, by the way, you're going to hear hard truths in this thing, both from me and from your own classmates, and I expect you to give it to your classmates, but it's always meant to be respectful, objective, and using your subjective view of things, but like an objective based thing, and never personal, never ever personal. And even though it's not personal, boy, you can hear some hard truths. Like, and I wish the world would do more. Like, I like to be pretty frank with people, and give people my candor, and be like, not mince words. But that's a fine line, and I feel like people were so bad at skirting that line, at treading that line, that now people don't give critique on things. They just say, "Oh, that's wonderful," or you hear nothing. And every once in a while, I want to hear, "That's a 5 out of 10. You could do better,
Mhm.
and here's how I think you could do better." And then so I can go, "Oh wow, I don't agree with like points 1 and 2 that they said, but boy, that other stuff,
Mhm.
man, this is gonna make me a better artist." And
Mhm.
that's what critique is meant to do. So it's hard to give examples of good critique, because I just don't think critique happens in the same way. And social media, I think, plays into that. People you either get a like or you get a hate comment,
Mhm.
and there's
Yeah.
very little in between. That's where the white, gray, black thing, the gray area is kind of starts to disappear sometimes. And I yeah, I wish more people would sit in that uncomfortable middle and
Mhm.
not be afraid to have conversations that might tell you some things that are tough, like you could improve on something.
It's almost like critique in and of itself is an art, right?
Yeah, because you need, number one, to trust your own sensibilities and your own eye enough to know when you see something, whether you like it or not, or whether it's not even that you like it or not, but does it achieve what it sets out to do, or does it achieve what you expect of the work?
Mhm.
And then the connection needs to happen between your eye to your head to your mouth, to then communicate that in a way that is helpful to someone, that is actually critique, and not like hate.
Mhm.
Like, it's easy for someone to say, "That's shit, that's shit, that's shit, that's derivative," but it's much harder to say, "I feel this harkens to someone else's work, and I'd like to see you take it in a more here's and I know this about you, and I think you could take it in a more personal direction for yourself," for example. Or to say, um, "I know, I can see what you were trying to achieve with this. The way that this and this speak to me gets in the way of that." It's because it's all about giving the other person just more food for thought, more things to consider. Critique needs to be something that you give to somebody, full well knowing that they may reject that criticism, that critique as well. Like, someone might tell me something about my work, and I say, "It's interesting that you see that, uh, and I don't agree." That happens. I've had
Yeah.
people say, even like in my design business, say it's a billboard design, and so you need to have it it needs to hit people, because they literally, it's somebody driving past, so you have less than 1 second to touch them in some way. So you have to design in such a way. I've had people say, "Oh, it's just too simple. You need to add more stuff. It should have this paragraph of text." And I can say, "I understand where you're saying that, and I don't agree." So critique needs to be a thing that you give, and it might not be actioned on, or you give it and it's the thing that changes that, like, it's that spark, it's that 90-degree turn that takes that work from being that 5 out of 10 and makes it the 10 out of 10. Like, I tell my clients that in my design business of like, do not hold back. Do not hold back, even if you feel you cannot articulate it properly, because any of that that's coming to me, even if you articulate in some way that it might be like might hurt my feelings, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I've heard it all. I've been told that a 4-year-old could do it, so nothing's going to hurt my feelings. But everything I get is going to help it in a collaborative way to like just evolve the work to be better than I could do on my own.
I love that. I love that because critique becomes the collaboration, and that's so valuable. It's so
Yeah.
valuable. Um, I we've touched on some really, really, really good shit here, and I think it's a good time to wind down with some more personal questions and just ease back down into some stuff. So, give me 3 facts that you want people to know about you.
Uh, 3 facts they want them to know about me. Um, I do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to see all the things I do,
Mm-hmm.
that would be cool. Because I do a lot of things, and I'm so. For somebody who said earlier, I have a bit of a gift to gab once in a while. I'm so bad about telling people about the things that I do, like between the comics and the graphic design, and making emotes for people on Twitch for fun, and fundraising for my children's hospital on Twitch, and music stuff and everything else. I'm so bad about telling people. So I say, I do a lot of stuff. Check it out, and just take a look. You don't have to say anything. You just take a look. Just see it. It would be fun.
That's one.
The second thing is I do fundraise for the Children's Hospital here in Calgary, and that's a year-long thing. Every year it starts fresh. So January 1st it started fresh again. 2023 was the best year I've ever had for fundraising for the Alberta Children's Hospital. We raised over $1,600 for it. So if you like anything I'm doing and you can't and you're not sure how to say thank you for it, donating to my Extra Life campaign is always appreciated. I'd say do that before you look at giving me any money. Although I'll take your money, but it's been very important. I've been doing this. This is my 9th year of doing fundraising for the Alberta Children's Hospital through Extra Life Charities. So that's a big one. That's number 2. Number three. Okay, this is a purely selfish thing, as if everything else wasn't. Though I am a pretty solitary person, I like to do things on my own. I've been having some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. Has been playing games with other people in the last year since I've been doing the Twitch stuff, like just getting on Rocket League with people, or getting on Fortnite, or getting on whatever game,
Truck
like
Simulator?
fun goofy game. Yeah, Truck Simulator, just to chat to each other and mess around and break things. Chances are, if you ever wanted to play a game with somebody of a very small subset of games, I'm always up for it. And I'm bad at telling people that as well, that I like, that I kind of crave that these days, as somebody who never really played a lot of multiplayer stuff since back when I was in like my friend's basement playing games together on the Super Nintendo. That's been a really fun thing. So I'm craving, which is weird. I sit here alone with my cats, but I crave just that little bit of connection and that fun stuff we get to do together.
It's the type of connection that works for you. You don't have to, not all types of connection have to be enjoyed the same way. You may not enjoy person to person contact, but hey, if there's a screen in front of you, then all day. At least
Yeah,
that works for me a lot of times.
it's been a lot of fun. I wasn't sure when I started going like, oh, you know what, I should try streaming more. I didn't even in my wildest dreams think that I would be embraced by a community and be supported by a community the way that I felt this year. Just just insane. Like meeting you and Racket and folks like Laws and all sorts of people. So many different people that have just been really, really supportive and super nice. Like just jumping on, like chatting with eccentrics for an hour while he plays something, and then jumping off and watching Racket smash cars into things, and then jumping in your stream and seeing this amazing like crafts and art happening. It's just and then going, oh, no one's going to watch my stream tonight, and going on there and having some of my favorite people flood in and say hi to me is so rewarding.
It's really been special. I mean, I share that sentiment for sure. It's overwhelming, but in the best possible way.
Yeah, totally.
All right, my favorite question to ask of anybody. If you woke up one morning as a sandwich, what sandwich would you be?
Ooh. See, this is a tough one because you want to answer the one you'd most like to eat, but then that's a very frightening existentially. So what? Because I would say like, oh, a nice Reuben, a nice slab of like corned beef on rye with some nice mustard and a pickle would be pretty nice. It would be pretty nice. That's a good sandwich. I can't think of a lot of other sandwich that are like just a big old slam of smoked meat sandwich together. That's me. I'm just a big old slab of smoked meat.
Where the fuck is my bell? Where the fuck is my bell? Where the fuck is my bell? I'll just add one in now.
Ding.
Okay. Oh, yay for sound effects that I can add in editing. All right. Last thing for sure though. Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. So those Zine Awards, they do take place. If anybody is at all interested on checking something like that out, I can't figure out how to watch it live on my channel. That probably isn't going to happen, but I'm going to be in there chatting. That's January 25th. I think it was 8 p.m. Eastern on the Broken Pencil Magazine is the one for that. For me, you'll find everything I do is at withthese2hands.com. I've got links to everything I do. That's the graphic design, it's the comics, it's the zines, it's the music stuff, which is woefully doesn't have much there, but we'll have some soon. So yeah, basically, if like withthese2hands.com or and links to my Twitch are on there and everything. So yeah, withthese2hands.com will get you to everything I do, so you could stalk the hell out of me. I realize as time goes on how exposed I am on the internet. I don't give a damn. It's fun. People have been very nice. So keep being nice, internet.
Very good.
And I'm bigger than you. I might not look big, but I'm bigger than you. Trust me.
You're a good size. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And that's also a anyway.
Ding. Thank you, Carp.
All right. Well,
what do you want people to know about you?
I'm not going to air this part. This is the part that I'm not going to air because I can do that anytime on my own damn stream. This is about you. This is about you. But I make things. I do stuff. That's all there is to it. This has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you for being my first ever guest. I really, 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 really fucking appreciate you. And it's been great getting to meet you through Twitch. Thank you. So, what did you all think of the interview? Oh my goodness, that was white, gray, black, everybody. White, gray, fucking black. Oh god, everything is so loud. Why is everything so loud? Oh gosh. You loved it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, everybody, white, gray, black people, white, gray, black, right here in the chat with the pink name. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the bits. Hell yeah. Sexy as fuck. Ah, yes. Good stuff. Good stuff. So, that's how the interview segments are going to go. It wasn't Scottish, so it was crap. So, that's how the interview segments are going to go. I have two more lined up. I'm interviewing Ragged World tomorrow, and then hopefully getting that interview out next week. And then I'm going to be meeting with Control Alt Quinn because Quinn's got some really cool shit that I need to talk to them about. And I have, thank you for doing an official shout out to White Great Black. I also have some interviews lined up with some people who don't stream but are pretty known artists, and I'm very excited for that. Very excited. Don't know when those are going to be because one of them is in France right now, and then the other is moving to LA. So those might come a little bit later. Also, I also have some segments that I'm planning on, some that I'm planning on asking people for. Le France, yes, indeed. Yes, I am predicting right now. Predicting right now. I see a message from Phil, and it says, "Je m'appelle sophisticate." Also, Count Zero is here. What? What? Count Zero is here. Oh yes. So please, like my favorite segment of all that was the critiquing part, and like on that note, please give me critique on this segment. Put it in the Discord, put it in the chat. I don't care because this is the pilot episode. This is the first time I'm doing it, and if it's perfect the first time around, I'm fucking it up somehow. I want to get the feedback. Please give me the feedback. Whatever you got. Um, what else? Things and stuff and things. I feel like there's probably more to that, but I don't remember. Is Saturday a gaming stream? Yeah, Saturday is a gaming stream. I'm pretty sure. It was crap. Okay, well, if you're going to give me that kind of feedback, Lone, you got to give me a little bit more than just why. Because if it's just crap, that doesn't really tell me how to improve it, you know? Send me a 17-minute voice note. Okay, good. That is the kind of critique I'm looking for. The guest was too bald. Only White Gray Black is allowed to say that about the guest. Not enough cat butt. Guest is two from Calgary. More bagpipes. More doot doot. Okay. Okay. I like that. Now, like I said, every interview is going to be unique and it's going to be different. Not everybody's going to be doing the three camera angle thing. Some people are going to be doing like one camera angle. I'm going to be doing some IRL ones too. Just saying crap and poop. You just like saying crap and poop. Okay, well that's your preference. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Let's go find a nice happy raid target or not happy raid target, just a raid target. And if actually, White Gray Black, do you have any raid target suggestions? Is there anyone you would like to raid since you're here? And we will raid them for you. Guest did not have maple syrup. Okay, yeah, no, that is a serious critique. I would love more maple syrup content in my videos. Okay, you're looking good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Until then, I will dance. I will dance. Can we all do a car in chat for our... Okay, yes. Thank you for the bits, Phil. Car! Thank you for the bits. Not enough cats. Wasn't here for all of it, but checking in again. Thank you, Sick. And thank you, Caved Madman. Thank you. Thank you, Virtual Sun. Hamster Pam is on. Oh, you know what? You know what? I don't think we've rated PS. Wait, have we rated PS? Let's see. Let's see. You know what? I don't think we've rated PS, and I think that that's a crime. So let's go say hi to PS You Love Me, who is a very, very amazing speedrunner and streamer, and like part of the reason I'm on Twitch is because of PS You Love Me. So anyway, let's all go say hi to PS You Love Me. Make lots of noise in the chat. Say White Gray Black sent us, which will be very confusing because it'll be coming from my channel. All right. I will see y'all around. Bye! dreaming. P.S. You love me.